welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. Thanks for joining me. I'll be your astrologer this week. This will be the astro weather for February 11th through the 18th, 2024. Happy Sunday, y'all. I hope you guys are doing well. If you're watching this on Sunday or throughout the week, we're going to be talking all about Mars and Venus's ingress into the sign of Aquarius and the rest of the transits involving the moon this week. If you guys like my content, you want to see more of it, make sure you click the bell button below. This will subscribe you to the channel and let you know when we have new videos coming out. We're here every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. We're doing tarot, astrology, horoscopes, new full moon reports, and much, much more. And as always, I appreciate your guys' likes, your comments, your shares. Please leave me a comment below if this is the first time you've seen my channel, and drop me a thumbs up if you like this content. I'm titling today's video Dark Desires. We're going to be seeing some heavy Pluto energies kind of playing out this week, and how appropriate for Valentine's Day. We are going to kind of do a little bit of a twofer today, so if you stay till the end, I will be talking to you guys about this ingress for each and every one of the 12 rising signs and what to watch for and where passions are going to be heating up. But both of these particular planets are very important, Mars and Venus. They don't always talk a lot about just our relationships or our values or our resources, but where our passions are. So when the two planets come together, the two lovers, we see lots of focus on one particular area in our chart. For those of you guys who are new to my channel, I'm a Western astrologer. I work both with tarot as well as the Sabian symbols to understand what's going on. To make the most of my videos, make sure you pull your chart up while you're watching so you can take a look at where some of these energies are going to be moving through. And as we watch Mars and Venus come into the sign of Aquarius, fixed air sign, there's definitely this freedom call. But both of these planets will be meeting up with Pluto, Lord of the Underworld, so things will definitely be heating up. And so some questions that I would be kind of meditating on this week are, what are your deepest desires, right? What is it that you desire? How do you define passion? What are you passionate about? And what are you afraid to open up to, right? Certainly the future, it's uncertain, but we do know that we are very passionate about being able to make change this week. And really what you want to be asking yourself, because of Pluto's connection with both Mars and Venus, is, are you repelling love or are you retracting love, right? Within yourself and your relationship to other people. Pluto is asking all of us to make a big change and free up some space, some time for the future. So as Mars and Venus kind of make this dance with Pluto, right? They're going to the underworld, they're meeting with this mob boss. They are preparing to come together next week in a conjunction. So there will be something harmonizing, some new beginning that's being seeded as a result of kind of conquering our fears when it comes to some of our passion, our love, and our desire. So this is a very important transit. You guys will see this as a part of my reports next week. But this will be an awesome moment where I think both the past and the present will be working together to help us all reimagine our future and what it could look like. So the question is, what are you willing to trade up for freedom this week, right? Pluto is kind of wanting to broker a deal. He wants to give us something new, but we have to be willing to give something up. And what are you willing to trade for this freedom? All of these energies are going to be reverberating off of both Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. So there's lots of financial implications. There's lots of physical changes, lots of kind of freeing ourselves maybe from material goods or situations where we're holding on to something too tightly. And you really want to be asking yourself, how bad do you want something? And like I said, just in time for Valentine's Day. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this conjunction between Mars and Venus first. These are some themes that you guys will see throughout this particular week. And the big one for me, I think, is, with Mars and Venus coming together, kind of hovering around Pluto, intense passion and desire. Because Mars and Venus represents the masculine and the feminine, principles. So this is about desire and attraction. And when they align with Pluto, the planet associated with transformation and intensity, there's a surge of passion and intensity in relationships, both personal and within society. And this can manifest as a heightened desire for deep transformative connection. So certainly it can be a little steamy, it can be a little kinky, especially in the sign of Aquarius. But I think that really this is about us getting real about what it is that we truly desire. What are we willing to go after? And Mars and Venus might play a little bit of like a cat and mouse game. You know, we're going to see Mars make the ingress first. And so we're going to be kind of combating a fear maybe. And then Venus is going to come through and it's going to help us kind of open up to a new reality. Now, anytime we see planets in conjunction of Pluto, power dynamics and control come up. Okay, so you guys want to be mindful of that because Pluto's influence brings themes of power, control, manipulation to the forefront. So these can be things that can play out this week as well. Now, coupled with Mars and Venus, there may be a spotlight on power struggles within relationships, society structures, issues relating to dominance, submission, control can come to light, both on an individual or a collective level. Now, what Pluto really wants to bring us is some sort of transformation, and through the sign of Aquarius, it's about evolution. Because we see this transformation energy, this rebirth with Pluto, you know, combined with Mars and Venus in Aquarius, there's a potential for profound shifts in how we relate to one another and also the world around us. This can lead to a dissolution of old patterns and the emergence of new paradigms in relationships, values, and society structures. Likely this will lead on like a global scale more to, societies reforming. We're going to see opportunities for activism because Aquarius is very much associated with societal change, innovation, and progress. So when Mars and Venus kind of come in and align with Pluto, there's a strong drive. Like there's a lot of passion for, society to reform. We're going to see a lot more focus on activists. Individuals and groups may feel compelled to address power issues, imbalances, inequality, injustices, leading to collective efforts towards positive change. Now, something else that comes up a lot with Mars and Venus in conjunction to Pluto, obviously, is the theme of a sexual revolution, taboo exploration. You really can't talk about Mars, Venus, Pluto contacts without that. Because, that's what Pluto rules. Pluto rules sex and regeneration. So it's likely that taboo subjects relating to sexuality, intimacy, and power dynamics will be coming up throughout these transits. So with all of them combined, there may be a collective push towards exploring and redefining societal norms around sexuality and relationships. This could manifest as a sexual revolution or increased openness towards alternative lifestyles and expressions of love. One other thing you'll want to watch for is also tech innovations and transformation through that. Lots of focus on wealth with technology. That's going to be a huge theme because that's what Aquarius is associated with. But when Mars and Venus come into the picture, it's about significant advancements in technology and the transformation it has on society. So this could include breakthroughs in the fields of artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and renewable energy, leading to profound changes in how we live and interact with each other. So like I said, all of these conjunctions that are taking place in the sign of Aquarius are kind of building off of Jupiter and Uranus being in Taurus, okay? Because Taurus is the sign that's associated with Venus. So we've got some mutual reception, even in the midst of some of the squares that we'll eventually see. This seems to point to really big sudden rises in some tech stocks and in some environmental sciences. And we're probably going to be hearing more about, the impact that that's going to be having overall on the markets. Equally, it's going to be about this innovation of technology and AI in the tech world, in startups and big business, and how that is impacting how we're making money, right? So that's another theme. So let's take a look at the week ahead. We're going to go day by day, and we're going to start with today, Sunday the 11th. So happy Sunday to all of my Sunday crew. I hope you guys are well. I hope you're reflecting, retreating, you're resting, because when you guys wake up, the moon is in Pisces. And by the time you're waking up, it's leaving the conjunction to Saturn. But when the moon is in Pisces, we kind of want to get into our kind of safe, quiet place. We want to reflect. We want to meditate. We want to kind of just be in the flow. Kind of a funky space to be, right? Especially coming off of that new moon in Aquarius, super intense. And the moon is now going to be hanging out all day between Saturn, which limits, and Neptune, which dissolves. So we're going with the flow, basically. That's the best thing we can do today. Perhaps maybe we're still feeling some of the effects of the Mercury-Jupiter square. You know, the last couple of days we've seen Mercury and Jupiter squaring each other, bringing about some brand new, shocking information that's kind of reverberating through the interwebs, or, you know, through all like the news networks, the news stations. Big information is coming out, and we can still be feeling the effects of that even as of today. So that was perfecting just the last couple days. Outside of a, you know, moon transit, and also seeing that the moon is going to sextile Jupiter and eventually Uranus, not too much is going on today. Today's a pretty easy day. As Sunday continues, you'll see this moon come into conjunction with Neptune really late at night, early tomorrow morning, possibly bringing some vivid dreams, an opportunity to kind of really feel like we're kind of connecting with our spiritual side, and also focusing on our dreams, right? So much of Saturn in Pisces is about making our dreams a reality, seeing if our dreams are going to actually become fulfilled. If we're going to build them, we're going to make them happen. So definitely take time to really reflect on dreams, gut intuition, hunches all day today. Now with the moon in Pisces, it's really easy to kind of like slip up, okay? It's easy to not want to get out of bed. It's easy to kind of want to fall back into our old undoing kind of patterns and habits where we isolate, or we were more willing to kind of turn to alcohol or substances. If you're struggling with that, ground your energy, work with both the elements of water and earth, and you'll see that the moon coming into a sextile with both Jupiter as well as Uranus can help us kind of adjust to where we've been kind of knocked off kilter the last couple of days. Go for a swim, take a bath, take a longer shower, maybe do some work where you can, you know, do some gardening, or you're working with food, or you're kind of just practicing getting back into your body. That can kind of help you fall out of some of these, you know, patterns where we have a tendency to kind of fall back into our old habits, our old ways. Outside of that, you're not going to see too much else going on Sunday. Like I said, as that moon keeps moving through Pisces, it'll catch a conjunction to Neptune really late at night. That's why I have a feeling we're going to have some really interesting dreams collectively that we will be probably benefit from sitting down, writing down, and kind of thinking over when we wake up on Monday morning. Now, Monday morning is a very different flavor. While most of us are just getting up, that moon is ingressing into the sign of Aries. So when the moon's in Aries, we're looking at Mars, because Mars rules Aries. And oh my goddess, Mars is at that critical 29 degrees. So when we have planets at 29 degrees, we feel the intensity of that planet getting ready to shift gears. Mars has been Capricorn for the last few weeks, really helping us all focus on, you know, getting something going, doing some kind of work, some responsible, you know, professional stuff, reaching for our goals, really being active in our careers, and it's getting ready to shift pretty soon. So maybe you're going to be feeling that intensity of that 29 degrees of Mars as we wake up in the morning. When we have the moon in Aries, we feel more active, right? It's in a fire sign, it's in a cardinal sign, so it wants to initiate and get things done. I really recommend Monday, Tuesday, working with this energy, initiating something new, getting active, finding new ways to be able to, you know, kind of be more so independent with that moon in Aries. Now, on Monday, it's going to continue to keep moving through. We will see somewhere midday, or maybe a little bit later, the moon's going to start picking up a sextile, not just from Pluto, but also to Mercury. So we're able to kind of be more independent, more active with the support and help or guidance of some kind of group or collective. So maybe, you know, we are focusing on our goals. Maybe we are building off of, you know, some conversations we had with friends. It is possible that we are doing some kind of networking or collaboration with a group of people that's incentivizing us to want to be more proactive at what? Healing ourselves. Chiron and the North Node are in conjunction. We are seeing this conjunction continually grow over this next week. So really Monday and Tuesday, as we see the moon kind of getting closer to this conjunction, self-help, self-healing, self-awareness, healing these wounds of feeling kind of cast aside, That's definitely going to be coming up for us early in the week. Now, as we continue to go through Monday, the moon's going to keep moving through Aries. It's going to catch a conjunction to Chiron early in the morning on Tuesday. Now, Tuesday is the day that we're really feeling the intensity, right? Because now both Mars and Pluto are in the same sign. Now, the conjunction won't happen until Wednesday, but likely because this Aries moon is picking up the energy of the fusion of Mars, passion, desire, kind of, going in the direction that we need to go, finding our path, comes into this conjunction with Pluto. So intense power, it's volcanic. We can see that we are more likely to kind of erupt, have a temper, react, and be mindful that we are picking that up from other people, right? Wherever Mars goes, it's kind of, picking up the energy of the North Node in Aries, which encourages us to be brave, to be warriors. But also, Mars in Aquarius is very different. This is fixed air. So we start seeing where people are having intellectual debates. We start seeing those keyboard warriors online. We start seeing more kind of conflict and people getting their feathers ruffled when it comes to politics more so than usual. And it can be some very, very explosive energy on the 13th and the 14th. So in the morning, as we see the moon start coming into conjunction with Chiron, we want to be mindful that that conjunction is taking place. It is possible that there is like a tiff with friends or, with somebody who we would consider, like our people. And then we're kind of like, like, where did that come from? Why am I feeling like I'm being kind of singled out? Or why am I feeling like I have to rip the Band-Aid off and like kind of cut with my favorite toxic thing or person? Mars is known to be connected to blades, right? So it's about cutting, snipping, purging. So it's not unusual for some of us to have to kind of face our fears and go, you know what, I have to be willing to walk alone or walk away if this ultimately isn't serving my higher purpose, if it's not really meant for me. Now, we will also start to see the moon sextile with Mercury and the sun. So we're starting to see finally we're kind of coming out of that new moon phase that we had in Aquarius. Maybe it means that we're so focused and so set on our goals, our future, that we're feeling really incentivized to be like, okay, we're going to get going. We're going to kind of move forward with some of these changes, be super mindful of moods and emotions and flare-ups, because I think that where they're coming up is kind of showing us where we're maybe not listening to Pluto's call. Pluto is going to say to Mars, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to cut out in order to have more independence, in order to be more self-sufficient, in order to be more active? And it may come at a cost. Now, out in the world, Mars-Pluto transits, yes, they can be dangerous. We can see that this can be times where there is a lot of civil unrest. We can see this can be a time where people are more willing to be physically combative. So you want to be mindful of that. This is not the week to go toe-to-toe with somebody, because you might deal with a crazy person, especially all these planets being in Aquarius. People may feel a little unhinged. And tensions rise. And a lot of this is because people are very passionate about what their beliefs are. Look at all these planets in Aquarius: Mars, Pluto, Mercury, and the sun. So all this energy is feeding into a sextile with the moon, Chiron, and the North Node. Now, the positive is that through going your own way, you may actually find your tribe. You may find your people. You may go and join a group or an association or some kind of collaboration with like-minded people who want to actually hear what you have to say, who want to build with you. So being the Lone Ranger this week isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think kind of really tapping into what your own needs are is so important, and it's going to serve as like the fuel for getting to where we need to go. Now, for the rest of the 13th, we're not going to see too much going on. Like, yes, Chiron and the North Node are conjunct. We've been feeling that for several weeks, and really that's going to hang out for about a month or so. But then we're going to start to see the Pluto-Mars conjunction building going into the 14th, which will be Valentine's Day. But before we get there, Venus also is in a sextile to Neptune, so that's not a bad energy. Venus in Capricorn, very focused on, long-term committed partnerships, relationships, seeing things through, what you're building together. And that's harmonizing in a sextile with Neptune. So it's great for, social connections, good vibes, good music, good food, And it can also be a time where we're really feeling divinely inspired. And somehow that's playing a role in our public relationships or our career or our reputation. Nice aspect, quick, not entirely sure if that's going to take away from a Pluto-Mars conjunction and a moon hitting Chiron in the North Node. So if you're feeling the intensity, right, get in water, work with water. It'll help. You can work with like herbal teas and baths or crystals, because we want to kind of implement this use of Venus in an earth sign and Neptune in a water sign. And the sextile could mean a nice hot bath, some music, something that can help us decompress. Can really deal with the pressure, the agitation, the anger, the frustration that can be coming up with the Mars-Pluto conjunction. Make no mistake, in the time of the year that people are supposed to be lovey-dovey, you're going to either see people who are going to be really angry and agitated, or you're going to see people who are going to be like super kinky and putting on their leather chaps, if you get what I'm saying. Mars-Pluto could definitely be those things. And there's something to be said about the Mars-Pluto conjunction, and that the release is also kind of connected to this purge or this energy that needs to be expressed, that needs to come out. So it could be that you're just feeling a little bit more frisky than usual. That's possible as well. And we'll see the moon continue to keep moving. It looks like it's going to pick up a conjunction to Chiron in the late morning, and then the North Node by midday. So watch your mood. Watch your attitude, watch your emotions, watch your feelings, what's being released, right? Get active, move around. This is a day where you don't want to just like sit in your, in your cubicle all day. You may want to get up and do a couple laps around the office, or make time maybe to go for a run, something to kind of get some of this energy out, so that way the emotions aren't creating injuries or things that we have to heal. So much about the moon Chiron is kind of realizing where when we don't express this emotion, it manifests as like health issues, it manifests as inflammation, it manifests as like pain. And yeah, we don't want to be dealing with that. Be very careful with things that are hot. Be careful with things that are sharp. I think about like how, the North Node Chiron can be about banging your head. It can be about burning yourself, cutting something, if you're working with sharp or hot objects. And Mars and Pluto definitely talk about that dangerous energy. And I think it's more abstract. Like Aquarius is like, more about what's in the air, or what people are talking about, or, how groups of people are coming together. And like people, in large groups can be easily triggered or feel threatened in some way. So just kind of keep your eyes open, see what's going on the 13th or the 14th, because I feel like the moon is going to trigger something here. Now we're going to keep moving through the 13th. We're going to move into Wednesday. And before we do, it looks like the moon's going to pick up a sextile to the sun, so that's nice. And as we move into Wednesday, it looks like overnight, Mars and Pluto will align. So February 13th, Tuesday, late at night, Mars and Pluto conjuncts. So it would not surprise me. We wake up in the morning on the 14th and we're hearing about some like crazy crowd, or like some, lunatic that's like out there and like wielding some kind of weapon. I mean, I don't like saying this, but we might hear about something like that. And some kind of, potential like attack. All right. Once again, don't like saying this stuff, but it would not surprise me. You guys have to think back to what happened. All right. So we saw, on January 20th, 21st and February 5th, the planets came into conjunction with Pluto. So around January 20th, 21st, the sun conjuncted Pluto. I think this was about bringing some kind of change to our awareness. I think it was about peeling back and kind of shining a light on the dark. Then we saw Mercury recently just come into conjunction with Pluto. Obviously, some really big news in alternative media that's coming out about, reports of interviews and all kinds of people who are trying to kind of expose what's really going on with like global powers. That's literally how that was supposed to manifest. So now here's Mars. It's like, what actions are being taken because of some of these things that have been said? Who's now potentially on, the hot seat or on hit lists or other things because they've been daring enough to come out and kind of share some of this information. I'm anticipating this is going to be some of the reactions and the responses to this. So we wake up on the 14th. This is going to be obviously Valentine's Day for those of you guys who celebrate. This is Wednesday. And early in the morning, the moon's still in Aries. and it's going to ingress into Taurus later in the morning. So we're going to feel the moon go into Taurus, and that makes us look at Venus. Venus is starting to kind of nuzzle up next to Pluto, and as soon as that moon ingresses into Taurus, it's immediately squaring Pluto and Mars, okay? And it's an opening square. So it does feel like we're scrambling to, you know, consume, buy, pick things up, focusing on our money, focusing on our resources, lots of looking at financial systems, banks, right? That's Taurus. Definitely could be a day where I could see some people really spending or indulging on luxury, because we will see the moon come into a conjunction with Jupiter. So once she leaves the square to Mars and Pluto, which is about midday, she then starts coming into a conjunction with Jupiter. So like Valentine's Day night, moon Jupiter in Taurus, pretty nice. Good food, good wine, you know, smelling good, looking good, indulging, a lot about pleasure. We do see that Venus is in an earth sign, so I do feel like that's pretty solid. I'm not really worried about Venus in this sense. I feel like it's a little bit more traditional. Taurus rules, you know, food, chocolate, things that smell good, you know, comfort, luxury. So I could definitely feel like there's a lot of trying to have these experiences, not just because it's Valentine's Day, but because that's where the moon is. The problem is, as the moon is coming into conjunction with Jupiter, it's squaring Mercury, Mars, and Venus. So there is this sense of being like, well, that's nice, but like, I want to do something different. You know, I want to do something different. Maybe it's not about spending it with like a sweetheart. Maybe it's about spending it with friends. Maybe it's going to be about, you know, doing something different in terms of your Valentine's Day celebrations. So I like where the moon is, not crazy about some of the squares that we're experiencing. And the moon is going to start to come into conjunction with Jupiter over the evening. So we'll see clear into Wednesday evening, moon Jupiter collides. Okay. So this is going to take us to Thursday, the 15th, and we wake up in the morning. And oh boy, this is one of the days that get kind of like intense. So Mars and Pluto have left that conjunction. They're separating. We see the moon is going to be sandwiched between Jupiter, which makes things feel bigger, Uranus, which can be shocking and surprising, and this moon is going to come into a square with the sun. So you'll be seeing kind of like getting closer to Friday, you know, we're starting to build into that first quarter square. But that moon being in a square to Mercury, having a hard time kind of communicating and connecting on Thursday. We're kind of feeling the effects of some kind of physical growth or changes with our resources, and we're kind of adapting. Not the best for communicating and getting on well with groups of people. Not the best also for, you know, some financial changes. The squares to Uranus or anything in Aquarius makes me feel like it's a bit of like a wild card. So yeah, be mindful of that. Plans don't necessarily go according to plan, you know, on Thursday evening going into Friday. All right, so we're going to continue to take the moon through Taurus. It looks like it'll pick up that conjunction to Uranus, and that'll be in the PM hours, like right around dinner time. So that's when the shocks and surprises kind of start happening. And then we are going to see the moon continue to move forward, comes out of the square with Mercury, and it starts building into the square with the sun, which is going to hit more the 15th. So really on Thursday the 15th, Moon Uranus conjunction, you know, a moon square Mercury, not the best for communication, signing contracts. As we get into Friday, this is the first quarter square. So this is the day that I think that things may go a little haywire, in my opinion. While this moon is in Taurus, we are looking at what's going on with Venus, and Venus is hitting a critical degree. So she's hitting the last degree here. Will the moon trine Venus? Yeah, it will. It's going to happen early in the morning. But this is right in the final moments of Venus being at 29, and it looks like the moon being around 29. So we'll catch early in the morning a moon-Venus trine. And it's a little sticky because we've got the moon squaring Uranus. So if you guys saw the new moon in Aquarius video I did, that new moon featured a pretty hard square to Uranus, which means changes the name of the game, right? We're taking chances. Not everybody is going to like some of the changes that we're making. We have to get out of the box. We have to think about things differently. We have to be willing to kind of pivot and embrace new ways of doing things. And that feels uncomfortable, right? It feels uncomfortable. So this is going to be that first square that's like, okay, you know, how am I feeling with having made some of these changes? And when the sun and moon square, things don't go according to plan. So Friday kind of morning, you know, you want to be mindful of that, even though there are some nice sextiles to Saturn and Neptune. So we're feeling very much in the flow. We kind of have to let go and let God and go, you know what, if my schedule's falling apart this morning, or if something's not working, I have to just let it go. Part of that is because Venus is coming into conjunction with Pluto, and Venus rules Taurus. So what we're really picking up on is that there's been frustration. We've been ready to change something in the Aquarius area of our chart. And then boom, Venus comes in. She is going to spend all day on the 16th in conjunction to Pluto. Look at this, my friends. Halfway through the day, then the moon comes into Gemini. So when the moon's in Gemini, we are focusing on communication. We are talking, learning, moving, traveling. And we're going to start to see that the moon is going to be coming into some trines. We'll have some really nice air trines, 16th, 17th, 18th. So really what this tells me is that now we're looking at Mercury. Well, Mercury's between the sun and Mars. It's like, what about the future? Where are we going? How are we working together? How are we upgrading? How are we, you know, like kind of tapping into imagining a new world? So we become very chatty, I think, with that. And also with Venus coming into a conjunction with Pluto, the news probably, the financial news on Friday is probably going to be pretty wild, because the moon will conjunct Uranus and square the sun. All right, so this moon keeps moving. It's trining Pluto, it's trining Venus. A lot easier, I would say, on Friday night, in my mind. And we are also going to see Mercury start coming into a square now with Uranus. And that's going to start in the evening on Friday. Okay, so Mercury is the mind, technology, information, data. I think of like ATM machines. I think about the internet. I think about power, right? All these Aquarius things. And Mercury squaring Uranus. So it's kind of like an information meltdown. It may result in like energy, you know, outages. It may result also in people having like some challenges when it comes to transferring and moving funds. I definitely think that there's going to be some really big news about what we're moving away from, because Venus rules the South Node. So Venus and Pluto coming into conjunction in Aquarius, we're moving away from certain relationships, certain alliances. We're moving away from certain relationships, maybe with resources. Venus also rules Taurus. So this Jupiter-Uranus, 10-degree conjunction is really kind of saying, like, a lot of people are thinking, like, okay, am I changing banks? Am I changing financial platforms? Am I changing trading platforms? And a lot of people are going to be talking about, where they can be kind of going and working with new networks or new systems or new people to upgrade their financial lives. So I would imagine this is just going to be a really interesting time on the internet. So many collective movements happen when we see this many planets in Aquarius, and this is the time that I told you that is going to be so potent. I spoke about this in my 2024 video, and here we are. So really the future is showing up in a very big way, especially because all these planets in Aquarius are superior to Taurus. So it's kind of beaming down on Jupiter and Taurus, and we're seeing where like this community connection, groups, people coming together really trumps and can really push the boulder, right? Move the stone. We've seen this in recent weeks with some of the movements going on in Europe with the farmers. It's literally where the masses have been forcing some kind of change. They're now backing down in some parts and talking about they're not going to tell you that you can't eat meat, or, they're going to kind of relax on carbon taxes or fertilizer. This is literally the effect of the square, right? So this is a day to watch. We want to lean, I think, more into the Venus-Pluto conjunction, which is okay, this is scary, but we're open to this change, and let's talk about the change. Let's talk about where it's going. If we get stuck in the Mercury square Uranus, where we're kind of feeling like our mind is on fire and we are not open to change and we're not willing to work together or make the shift, then it's going to be obviously a meeting of the minds, which may not necessarily make any progress. So not the best day for like meetings, signing contracts, travel, like with Mercury in a square to Uranus. Just expect the unexpected. All right, so we're then going to see the moon keep moving through Gemini into Saturday the 17th. And we wake up in the morning, it's still there. Saturday is not bad. We're starting to see Venus and Mars move away from Pluto. We're seeing the moon that's going to be trine Venus and Mars and Mercury. Great on Saturday. Once you get out of the square to Saturn, I think you're good. Saturday is a really great day for connecting, being with other people, having fun, having playtime, going out with your friends, socializing. Like I'm liking the conjunctions this particular day. Looks like we'll get that moon trine Mercury the second half of the day, which is awesome because Mercury's ruled by, Gemini's ruled by Mercury. So yes, super awesome day on Saturday. I'm actually kind of like pleasantly surprised. The only thing that you want to be watching is, like I said, Venus is still kind of coming out of that conjunction with Pluto. So likely there's been some big opportunities for endings and beginnings, rebirths when it comes to friendships, our goals, especially collectively, because, the moon represents kind of where we are every 2.5 to 3 days. But the Aquarius energies move a little bit slower. So it talks about how the more that we're opening up to sharing, communicating, talking, relating, the more that we're actually able to go and meet like-minded people. So this is a day that's like, get out in your neighborhood, go to like a fair, go to a market, go and do something with your neighbors, your siblings, like go and connect with other people. Obviously, we got a 29 here, so we're about to go into Pisces season. We'll see that happen on Sunday as that sun ingresses. And this leads us to Sunday the 18th. So we'll catch a moon square Neptune in the morning. Can have us feeling a little sensitive, a little unsure about communication, sharing. But still, it's still trining Mercury and the sun. I would say with Mercury square Neptune, we need to be more aware that we are kind of absorbing emotions and feelings and stuff from other people. It might be a time where we're being asked to step up, to speak up, to not be willing to kind of hide and retreat. And I think the trine to both Mercury as well as the sun really seems to indicate still a very social time. All right, so the moon's going to keep moving through Gemini. It'll catch a trine at 29 degrees in the PM hours. And then the moon is going to ingress into Cancer, and that'll be taking place on Sunday night. And the sun ingresses into Pisces. So interesting turn of events. We go from all of that like air trine to like water trine, and then we're resting and reflecting, late Sunday night into Monday morning. So that's the end of Aquarius season. We still have a ton of planets in Aquarius, so it's over, but it's not completely done. And the beginning of Pisces season. So if you guys happen to have your birthday within those 2 time periods, happy birthday to you. I'm liking that at nighttime, after like this really strong air energy that's like socializing, connecting, meeting people, learning, then it's like Sunday night, we're going to bed and we're like, oh, it's so nice to be home. And like, I'm really thinking about all of the people that I met or the connections that I made or how nice it was to like be away from home and like see other people. And now I'm appreciating my home and my family so much more, right? So take note of where you're at Sunday night, like late at night when you're in bed versus what you've been doing Saturday and Sunday. And likely it's because maybe you're feeling like you're living a life that's a little bit more in balance. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. So you'll notice that shift that's going to happen on Sunday night next week. Now, like I said, next week we're going to have Mars and Venus meet. They're going to meet at 5 degrees of Aquarius. They will go side by side for several days. This is where now we're building something, we're building our future, we're working on our dreams as a result of being willing to make some of these trade-offs, these sacrifices, literally creating space, freeing up some of our time this week to do more with other people, right? To be able to connect with other people. So I encourage you guys this week, make free time, right? Make the free time. Maybe you've already kind of become aware that something needs to change in January and you've been talking about it this last week and now you're like, okay, now I have to do it. So I know it's scary to make the cuts, to make the change, but create that space, hold that goal or that wish and really open up to something new coming in. And we're going to talk about how it's going to be manifesting for you next week. Now, I want to leave you guys with showing you where Mars and Venus are going through. I'll do videos on that this week. And equally, those of you guys who are interested in watching my horoscopes, please do, because if you watch my horoscopes, I talk about this for all of the 12 signs, so it can be really helpful. But I do want to show you where Mars and Venus is moving in Aquarius in conjunction with Pluto. So you're aware of like what's kind of getting cut, but what's opening up, and just give you a little bit of food for thought, okay? So as always, I'm a Western astrologer. For the purpose of my videos, I use whole sign housing systems. You can listen to Placidus. However, Mars and Venus are going to meet Pluto at 0 degrees. Okay, so actually you can use whole sign, you can use Placidus, whatever you want. Look for where Pluto is. And like I said, imagine that he's the one kind of brokering the deal and saying to Mars, like, hey, if you cut this off, I'm going to bring you something that's creating so much more love in your life, so much more passion. And then we're going to kind of see that manifest over like the next couple of weeks. All right, so if you have any personal planets, 29 degrees-ish of Capricorn to let's say 1 degree of Aquarius, this is very important for you. Pay attention. Equally, if you are a Venus-ruled chart, so if you are a Taurus or a Libra rising, the Venus-Pluto conjunction is so important, all right? If you are an Aries or a Scorpio rising, the Mars transit is so important because you may be the one initiating the change, right? Because that's your ruling planet. So we're going to start first with Aries and we're going to talk about what's going on and then I'll go through each and every one of the 12 rising signs, okay? So let's talk about Aries and Aries rising. Aries, you're going to be seeing your chart ruler, because you're ruled by Mars, come into Aquarius where you're literally taking action when it comes to networks, friends, and other people, right? And Venus is going to be there, and Venus rules your relationships, and it also rules money and resources. So it's almost like you're coming together in a social network, you're meeting other friends, maybe you're meeting people socially, maybe you're going to parties, whatever. And it can be something that can be very lucrative for you because Pluto rules your 12th house. So it's like you're able to kind of connect with people who, you know, may have funds, they may have resources, they may be able to provide you with support. Now, this 11th house is all about social networks, group activities. I think this is where you're going to be, you know, really focusing. And these activities may play a role in this transit, like I said, to bring you more resources. Now, you're going to be feeling like you're more drawn to like-minded individuals who share your vision for the future. Friendships and group dynamics may be characterized by a sense of innovation and progress. So surround yourself by people who equally want to create change, who are about self-improvement, the future. It can be about the environment. It could be about anything. And you don't have to meet them in person because Aquarius could be literally about meeting on the internet. So it's about kind of connecting with a group. And I think that you're going to find an opportunity to kind of like really find your tribe throughout this particular transit. Equally, a friend could set you up with somebody. You could meet someone. That's very possible because Venus is involved. And I think that this can be an opportunity for you really to invest more in some of your friendships, okay? Good luck. So we've got Taurus and Taurus rising. You're going to be doing this Mars, Venus, Pluto transit in Aquarius in your natal 10th house. My Tauruses, oh my goodness. All right, so your Venus rules you. Wherever Venus goes is where you are. Mars rules your relationships, and it also rules your subconscious and things that are kind of hidden from you. So for Mars and Venus to be going through your 10th house and kind of aligning with Pluto, this is really big. This is about career aspirations. we're kind of taking on more of like a futuristic or innovative tone. You may be drawn to leadership roles that involve pioneering new ideas or technologies, and public image may be influenced by your willingness to embrace progressive values, right? Because, you know, the 10th house Aquarius is things that are kind of like unconventional. They're kind of new. They're state of the art. They're futuristic. Maybe you're working with a powerful new partner. Maybe you have a new client. Maybe there's a lot of working with your spouse in some way if you work with your significant other. And I think it's about really kind of being like the dream team and bringing the right collective group of people together. And also at the same time, it's all kind of reverberating off of this Jupiter Uranus in your first house, where you're like, yeah, I can be the one who kind of brings the group together. And then I'm like, okay, go do your thing, right? You're kind of like the idea person. But you can really build a really strong following. It can be a really pivotal time for you in terms of your professional life. I encourage you to really put yourself out there front and center. Okay. Good luck, Taurus. We've got Gemini and Gemini rising. You're going to be doing this Mars, Venus, Pluto, and Aquarius in your natal 9th house. Lucky for you, Gemini, Aquarius is a fellow sister sign. She's an air sign. So if you're an early Aquarius, you're kind of receiving all these yummy air trines to your sun, moon, or rising. This really opens up the door to what Gemini is all about: learning, communicating, sharing, writing, podcasting, all this stuff. So to see Mars and Venus move into your 9th house, this is putting a huge focus on travel, higher education, your philosophies, your beliefs. You know, there's one thing for sure is that you're seeking out new experiences that expand your worldview or challenge your beliefs in some way. And relationships with foreign cultures or individuals from different backgrounds can definitely be highlighted here. Especially if it's like under the guise of like education or, you know, groups of friends in other places and things like that. This can also be a huge turning point for things like higher education, degrees, major trips, teaching, publishing, especially because Mercury is up here in the midst of this. So it does say that there is like a focus on some of these shifts in terms of your higher mind this particular week. Good luck, my Geminis. We've got Cancer and Cancer rising. You will be doing this Mars, Venus, Pluto conjunction taking place in Aquarius in your natal 8th house. For you, my Cancers, you've got Mars, which rules your creativity and self-expression. It also has connections to your career and reputation. And Venus, which rules home and also friendships, meeting in the 8th house. So change is the name of the game. The 8th house is an interesting house. You know, this is about bringing, I think, a desire for deeper psychological insights and transformation. You may be feeling drawn to exploring taboo subjects or unconventional approaches in intimacy. And financial matters may involve shared resources or investments. Inheritances, taxes, debts, loans, you know, the karma that you have with other people's money or with friends seem to be a huge theme this week. Obviously, you know, this is a sign that inconjuncts or quincunxes you, so it may feel a little uncomfortable. And likely some of these changes are being brought on by shifts in your financial goals or shifts with some of your friends. You might see who your real friends are throughout this transit over the next week or two. And really, it's about kind of breaking through and embracing change. With Mars and Pluto being here, it can also be very, very passionate. So it is possible that it's less financial. It's more about exploring other levels of your intimacy. And it can be in new, like unconventional ways or with new people, you know, so on and so forth. So watch for that as well. Good luck. We have Leo and Leo rising. You will be doing this Mars, Venus, Pluto conjunction in Aquarius in your natal 7th house. Oh, my Leos, I'm so curious to hear how this is going for you in terms of your relationships with other people. Mars rules your home, and it also has to do with your belief system and philosophy. And then we've got Venus, which has connections to communication, learning, siblings, and career. So there might be some really big statements that you're putting out there about your relationships to other people, letting other people know what's changing with your relationships, putting the word out about a professional or a romantic change. But partnerships will definitely take on a much more intellectual or unconventional flavor with this conjunction. You'll find that you're being more drawn to relationships with individuals who challenge your beliefs or push you to think outside of the box. And collaboration and cooperation will be emphasized. Now, this is in opposition to your sign. So it's all about who's coming in, who you're connecting with, your marketplace, what you're selling, relationships that can be romantic or with friends, because Aquarius can be friends. And this is also about making major headway, I think, when it comes to your professional life and your career. You're learning that relationships need a huge upgrade to really get to where you want to go in your professional life. So it's like, this is a good time to ask people, send out surveys to your clients. It's a good time to ask people, do you want to connect? Do you want to collaborate? It's a time to really focus on what you're putting out there, what you're selling, what you're offering, and taking on significant partnerships that can totally, enhance your life in a very big way moving forward. Good luck, my Leos. We have got Virgo rising. You'll be doing this Mars, Venus, Pluto stuff in Aquarius in your 6th house. Virgo, for you guys, this is an energy that you are very familiar with because you have associations traditionally with the 6th house. This is taking Mars, which is more about your mind and maybe vehicles or communication and change. And then also Venus, which is your belief system and your resources. They're all meeting in the 6th house. So it's like, it's time to get organized, right? It's time to think of new systems. It's time to get on a new schedule. Maybe you're adapting to a new work environment. Maybe you're going through some major shifts in regards to health and healing. Mercury's in this house as well. But one thing's for sure is that work and health routines will undergo a period of examination or change. You may seek out alternative health practices or initiate, making changes in your diet. It is possible that you might make some changes in your profession as well. And relationships with coworkers can be characterized by a need for collaboration and innovation. So I think about when this is happening, Mercury is here very close to the sun. So it can mean that you're feeling like you're just helping others, you're giving, you're sacrificing, and you're like, I need to work with a team, or I need to kind of be more mindful of just how much output I'm putting out there. Keep in mind that this is all coming into squares with Jupiter and Uranus. So I've literally seen this materialize as people going, I'm working a lot because I'm taking time off to go on a trip, or I'm changing my schedule because I'm going back to work, or I'm getting on a schedule or a deadline so I can publish my book. New skills may also appear, so there might be opportunities for training, teaching, learning, so that way you're feeling like you're really upgrading what your capabilities are in terms of your profession, okay? Good luck to you, my Virgos. For Libra and Libra rising, you're going to be doing this Venus, Mars, Pluto stuff in Aquarius. So this is a fellow sister air sign for you, my Libra and Libra risings. Very important because Venus will come into conjunction with Pluto, so you want to watch that. But really, I think the truth is, Libra, you may already know what this is about. So like the sun conjuncted Pluto, and I think that was about a shift in regards to your goals. We saw also Mercury conjunct Pluto, so there was a lot of like letting go of any fears or inhibitions with self-expression or creativity. Maybe you were being more open in your love life or with your children. And now we're going to see Mars, which rules relationships and your resources. And then Venus, which is you and shared resources, will merge in the 5th house. My Libras, I hope you're playing the lottery. I really do. Because these planets are squaring Jupiter and Uranus in the 8th house. Certainly taking chances, being creative, taking risks, having fun, being authentic, right? Think of like the 5th house as your stage, and you can show everybody what you've got. Yeah, big risk, big reward, but it can be a very big reward by the time you're getting into the spring of this year as Jupiter and Uranus are aligning. And so I feel like it's going to be about you really reevaluating, what you're creating with other people, how you can create new things and bring in new revenue streams, possibly even, taking a side hustle and making it a business, or launching a business, or, letting yourself really fall in love with a hobby or with a person. Now, if you have children, lots of stuff going on in your kids' lives. If you don't, this can be a time where you're opening up to the idea of further enriching a relationship, which could lead to having children. Certainly when Mars and Venus meet in the 5th house, it's a very potent time where love, relationships, dating, meeting people, going out, having a good time can happen, but it can also be a very fertile period for Libra because you have this eclipse that's going to be on your ascendant soon. So watch for that. I do think for you, Libra, just creativity is flourishing in unconventional ways, and you may find yourself meeting unconventional partners, and watch for the spark to kind of bring up a desire for, new forms of self-expression. Good luck. So we've got Scorpio and Scorpio rising. You'll be doing this Mars, Venus, Pluto in Aquarius in your natal 4th house. Scorpio, this is really important for you because you have both of your planetary rulers getting highlighted with this conjunction. So Mars rules you traditionally, Pluto rules you in a modern sense. So any which way you slice it, it's about you making some really big changes or transformations on the home front. Now, Pluto oftentimes is associated with crisis. So it's like, yeah, some of the things that are coming up that can be crisis related, but it can be kind of saying, okay, through this crisis, there's this reemergence or this awareness of what you truly want. So Venus rules your relationships and also your subconscious or hidden self. So there can be some subconscious desires coming up about relationships at home, what you're changing, what you need. It might be that you're working through something privately with a family member. Venus going into your 4th house with Mars does indicate there's going to be a lot of action with partners in the home, redecorating, creating, socializing, meeting with family, and some kind of homecoming that might be happening here, which is very, very important. Now, in the background, this is squaring your sign, and it's also squaring your Jupiter and Uranus, this transit in the 7th. So it seems like there needs to be some kind of action being taken at home between you, family, roommates, somebody that's going to kind of further propel and kind of help relationships expand. So whether you're bettering your relationships with relatives or roommates, whether, there is like a significant change going on at home or with the family, which is affecting relationships, all of these things kind of apply. But I know that you're really focusing on like revolutionizing or modernizing your home or your family life. And it is possible because Mars and Pluto are here. Domestic harmony could come through embracing unconventional living arrangements or family dynamics. And emotional security may come from pursuing some unusual interests this week. Good luck. We've got Sag and Sag rising. You will be doing this Mars, Venus, Pluto in Aquarius in your natal 3rd house. So for you, Sagittarius, this sextiles your ascendant, which is nice. It is helpful. It's supporting you grow and learn and explore. This is connected to your 5th house of creativity, children, hobbies, and it's also connected to your subconscious. So I think you're really opening up to the idea of exploring how you can learn a new hobby. Maybe you're writing for fun. Maybe you're finding that you want to launch a blog or a podcast. There's some new form of self-expression that's coming up. And Venus deals a lot with like your routine and also your goals. So you're able to kind of fuse these two together in your 3rd house. And this is where communication takes on a much more kind of progressive tone. And you might find yourself drawn to like intellectual debates and discussions. Siblings and neighbors may play a significant role in your life during this transit. And it is possible that you're making some huge shifts in the way that you communicate, in the way that you think, or the way that you are writing or speaking. And it shifts about your everyday life, your daily routine. And I think that it's going to be a positive one because it's kind of helping kind of pave the way, I think, for you to kind of have more fun, more romance, more creativity, more free time, more opportunities to date, or, meet the love of your life, or maybe even travel for pleasure. So that looks really positive for you, Sag. Good luck. We're going to have Capricorn and Capricorn rising. You will be doing this Mars, Venus, Pluto in Aquarius in your 2nd house. So my Capricorns, there is big energy coming up revolving around the ruler of your career and home. and also connecting to your goals and your hobbies, and it's all meeting in the second house. So it's clear you want something. There's something that you want to obtain or possess. Maybe it's an investment. Maybe it's like a big investment or a purchase, or, you know, certainly Venus here could be about luxury. But financial matters become much more of a focus, and it can be about unconventional or futuristic investments. So you might see a new way to generate income or initiate financial management, and relationships somehow may influence your sense of self-worth or material security. So there's a lot of like, I really, really feel loved by this person, or I really feel, you know, solid and secure because I've made this investment. Very financial houses that are kind of getting kind of activated here. You know, in the spring when Jupiter and Uranus come together, it could be that there is a really successful new business. It could be that it's from a hobby or something art related or investments. Certainly I think of like Jupiter, Uranus in your fifth house is like digital or cryptocurrencies, and that you're getting into learning about trading or exchanging different currencies, or, you know, getting involved in like the crypto world. And with Pluto, Venus, and Mars, you're feeling very powerful about investing in something which will bring you some kind of happiness, joy, or fulfillment in the future. Now, this can also be money, resources, being connected to children. This can also be your self-esteem and how you're really building that up, so that way you feel really solid as you go into relationships, and you feel like relationships can really flourish because you're doing so much work when it comes to yourself and your self-esteem. Good luck, Capricorn. We've got Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Obviously, the Aquarius party is in your sign. Go back, look at January and early February. What happened when planets hit Pluto? How were you going through significant change or transformation personally? What are you wanting to change about how you look or how you present yourself to the world? I think Mars and Venus being here, connecting so much about your reputation and your home, but also connections to how you communicate and how you learn and share ideas are the focal points. The first house is the ascendant. So this is about you. It could be that you bring much more of an innovative and independent approach to your self-expression. You may be feeling more assertive and driven to assert your individuality, to kind of stand out in the crowd more. Relationships may also be characterized by a need for freedom and intellectual stimulation, because, you know, as we see this kind of building, the sun is in here. And there's a lot of like, who am I? What am I changing? You know, like the world is my oyster. It's really up to me to decide how relationships go, how career goes, how home goes. You may be feeling really incentivized to want to take action, to kind of say, okay, you know, by, you know, the summertime, I want to live somewhere new. I want to have a new, you know, kind of like family life. I want to embrace this change within my living situation. And also it can be about relocating. It can be about traveling. It can be about going to another country. There's a lot of things where you're really kind of pushing the envelope and like redefining what home looks like. So I encourage you to take the necessary steps to really push everybody in the home base or in your private life forward and say, hey, we got to get the show on the road. We got to start kind of preparing for this shift that's going to be coming later in the spring of 2024. And a lot of this is just you expressing all of that Aquarius nature in a very passionate way. And I think coming into like this leadership role where people are kind of looking at you and they're like, yeah, I like your ideas. You know, they're very forward thinking, they're innovative, they're different. And you're really encouraging some people to really start thinking about living a much more self-sufficient kind of earth-connected life. Good luck, Aquarius. Then we have Pisces and Pisces rising. You guys will be doing this Mars, Venus, Pluto conjunction in your 12th house. Well, guys, definitely finances are involved here because you've got Mars and Venus, which connect to your money houses. You've also got stuff connected to your 9th and your 3rd. So I think a lot of it's going to be about your faith, your philosophy on relationships and resources are changing. The 12th house is kind of like no man's land. It's what happens when you're sleeping. It's your intuition. It's when you meditate. And it can be things that are outside of you that you feel like you don't have control over, but it can also be hidden talents and things going on behind the scenes. So if anything, getting some quiet time alone to reflect is so important during these transits, because I think it's going to bring a period of introspection and spiritual exploration. So you may be drawn to things that are unconventional, like meditation or therapy, and relationships with the hidden or subconscious element may come to the surface for examination. So you may be looking at, why am I afraid of, relationships, or what is holding me back from financial success, or where do I need to invest more in myself? What does need to change? This is where we're really kind of pulling the plug and everything's spiraling out in the bathtub as we're getting ready to kind of come into your birthday season where you're going to be starting a new year. And if you're a Pisces born this year, there's going to be a ton of planets that are going to be conjunct Saturn. And so I think a lot of this is going to be kind of like realizing like it's really on me. It's on me to make my dreams a reality. It's on me to let go of some of these things that maybe hinder me or hold me back or make me afraid of like really kind of starting anew. In a couple of months' time, when Jupiter, your traditional ruler, meets with Uranus, it's going to be about learning a new language. It's going to be about traveling. It's going to be about maybe even, relocating or, doing some kind of like alternative healing or writing or sharing of information. So right now you're kind of like thinking about it. It's in the back of your mind. You're like, can I do it? Can I not? Just take time to really focus on, I think, what's holding you back so you can clear all those blockages during this time and open yourself up to new ways of learning, new ways of thinking, and also a better connection, I think, with your spirit team. For more on all this stuff, check out your February 2024 horoscopes. They are live on the channel. I go through all of these transits for you guys. Let me know, how are you feeling with these conjunctions to Pluto? Are they as spicy and passionate as they look, at least from my perspective? Where are you experiencing this conjunction and how is it playing out for you? Obviously, I'm doing this video a week in advance, so I don't know what's going to happen with the world. We're going to see probably some pretty crazy things with the financial markets. That's my interpretation. And also more interest on how technology is kind of being built into banking, and anything revolving around like surveillances and, kind of the future of money and us being at like this tipping point and what we're all kind of thinking or going to do about some of these financial shifts. If you guys like my content, make sure you give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment below. I'll be back here on Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to talk more about Venus and Mars's trek. I've also got another, I think it's going to be a moon video coming up. So we're going to have to talk about this full moon in Virgo. That's going to be happening pretty soon as well. So we have a lot to talk about this week. Make sure you're subscribed so you can join me as we take a look at those when they come up. I also teach tarot and astrology. So if you have an interest in learning with me, check out my links below at beyondtheveiledtarot.com. You can see my study at your own pace programs. I have a level 1 and 2 astrology and a beginner's tarot as well. So if that's something that interests you, especially with all these planets in Aquarius, a good time to get like obsessed with astrology, right? And do check out my personal calendars there. I have transit calendars and one-on-one sessions if you'd like to book a session with me. I'm booking in April right now of 2024. So consider booking a session if you want to learn more about your natal chart. Otherwise, until next time, I'll see you guys all soon. Enjoy this steamy week ahead, and I'll catch you guys back here next time. Take care.